Next item on the agenda is executive message by Principal Chief Standing Bearer. This is also going to serve as his State of the Nation address. We just have observed Sovereignty Day earlier in this month of March, and he asked if he could just roll this message and State of the Nation address into one message to this body of Congress and to the constituents of the Osage Nation. Welcome, Chief Standing Bearer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members of the Osage Congress. I've chosen to deliver a State of the Nation address not at a dance or other event like we've done in the past. And hopefully in the future, this will be the place where we can deliver the State of the Nation. The Osage Congress, along with our Supreme Court and the trial court, are the elected leaders of our Osage Nation. And as we all try to do, we must all work together for the benefit of our people. Now, this does not mean we have to all agree, but we are under an obligation to try to seek agreement on the best course of action for our government, which in turn is to serve only one master, and that is the Osage people. The Osage Nation is the people, not the government. We have a government to serve them. We now have over 19,000 enrolled members, all descendants of the official roll of the Osage tribe completed in 1907. And today, the vast majority of the Osage people, 85%, live outside the original Osage reservation boundaries. Over 45% of the Osage people live outside the state of Oklahoma. So it is obvious the 15% of the Osage people who continue to live within the old reservation boundary are a small fraction of the whole of the people we serve. We must try to serve those Osage who live here with a restructured health system, with strong police protection, with housing assistance, with our WIC and food distribution program, and all other programs that benefit our people. And we must improve the daycare, Head Start, and all early learning programs. We care for the future of our nation, which is our children. And here is where the remnants of our culture and language exist. The last Osage who grew up speaking Osage as a first language left us over 20 years ago. Since then, we have been trying to recover to have, once again, speakers fluent in our language. In the 1970s, it was commonplace to hear our Osage language spoken in the tribal offices, in conversations on the benches of the Eloshka, and in the Native American church ceremonies. We have a long way to go to rescue our language. Yet we must continue to focus on the programs and needs of us few who continue to live here, but we must do so in a balanced way. We hope we will be able to rebuild our society and economy so once again we can live together as a people, a tribe, a nation. Until then, we have an equal obligation to those who live away from the old reservation to support their education needs, their health needs, and opportunities. All of this takes tremendous dedication and effort and a very large amount of money. I have found that the Osage government, which has grown over the years, is in need of serious pruning, to use a gardening term. This government has grown to support local needs. This government has grown from money and programs of the federal government, which most often are designed to serve all Native Americans of all tribes within the Osage County area. The Osage government seems to have grafted itself to the federal government. Many, if not most of our employees' thinking and practice reflect this condition. I have selected teams to correct these mistakes. The reality is the need for money to accomplish our goals. The Osage government still relies on federal grants and receives $19 million a year from them. But these are funds where competition is high and the availability will be less in the future under the new United States Congress in Washington, D.C. Primary in our thinking is the availability of money to our Osage government from the Osage casinos. We have confirmed The proposed expansion of the Tulsa Casino will require a cap on the distribution of money to the nation from the casinos in an amount of $40 million a year for at least 7 years. This is less than the Osage government spent last year. Against us is another reality. The programs we have set out for all Osages include our higher education scholarship program, our health card, and our burial assistance program. I call these entitlement programs because every member of the Osage Nation, no matter where they live in the USA, is entitled to these benefits. This year, these 3 programs alone are approaching $15 million a year in costs. This leaves $25 million for everything else. Again, much less than we had in the past. Now the greatest test is coming. For just these 3 important programs, there will be a greater demand from Osages who are just now learning they too are eligible for the benefits. This is a good thing and it is predictable. We also know that we are going to have increases in funding needs for these 3 programs because our law will require funding from the Osage Congress for a Medicare supplement and for carryover money on Osage health card benefits. Be it for 1 year, or 2 years, or 3 years, health card carryover creates a funding need which will have to be appropriated by this Congress in the next few months. And let us not forget, as the new Tulsa Casino expands, so will our need to expand our gaming commission in terms of equipment, employees, benefits, and other costs. My staff and I understand we must prepare for a budget in the coming years which will have the gaming money distribution limited to $40 million a year for the needs of this government. And of this, the entitlement programs will consume half or more. We are also aware of the need for use of the money to fund our defense of the Osage mineral estate and to assert our claims to our water. We have proposals from the state of Oklahoma to have the Oklahoma Corporation Commission move aside the Bureau of Indian Affairs and have Oklahoma regulate oil and gas production at the Osage. I have publicly announced our objection. We also have the Oklahoma Attorney General writing his view on the authority of the state of Oklahoma over Osage water. We have used the water underground to produce our oil. We have used water in the rivers and streams and on the surface. In our Osage language, it is no coincidence. Our word for life and water are one and the same. My staff and I understand the needs for more housing, better early learning facilities, for the establishment of veterans programs, and to expand our language and culture programs. We also know this will have to be done with less money for the government to spend. We have another avenue for funds we have never seriously tried, which is our Small Business Administration 8A program. We have studied the failed efforts of the past in Osage LLC. We need a fresh start. My visit to Tinker Air Force Base showed me the door is open for immediate profitable work. I believe we are holding ourselves back from these lucrative military contracts because of our inability to change our ways as is necessary to prosper. In the many years of learning and experience, I've come to agree with the definition of what defines a Native American nation. In the words of the United States Supreme Court, an Indian tribe or nation is a distinct political society separated from others. We are separated from others by our common history, our common culture, our territory, and until recently by our language. We must have lost over 95% of our surface lands, and our language is in need of being rescued from extinction. Within this framework, I have proposed 10 goals for my administration. If I had the time today, I would give each of you a detailed report on where we are. That may be given later in your congressional committees. These goals are attainable. To reach them, we must work together. My administration is still making the hard adjustments to the budgets and organization which we believe are absolutely necessary. We need the changes we submitted in August and which we submit to you for this session. They are in the form of budget modifications and changes in the organization of this government structure. They assign and reassign functions in a more rational and efficient way. The changes anticipate the future. In July, we will bring to you more budget modifications and organizational changes focusing on education and our new health systems. I have assembled a team of dedicated professionals who have been working tirelessly for our goals. It has been met with resistance to change. Please help us overcome this resistance. My staff, including my Director of Operations, my Chief of Staff, my advisors, and others who work with me on the necessary changes in the course of our government, have met with both criticism and with encouragement. We need for you, the Congress, to be on the side of encouragement, and I will work with you to find ways to gain that support. With your support in this session and in July, we will be able to present to you, the Osage Congress, a proposed budget for the next fiscal year, which will be within projected revenues and will make progress toward the goals of this administration. Madam Speaker and members of the Congress, I thank you for your attention, and we look forward to working with you and our Osage Nation.